And now I am pleased to welcome Senator John Boozman. Go ahead. The ranking senior Republican on the Senate Agriculture Committee. And I think everyone knows you. I'll let you go ahead and.
No, thank you so much for having me. This certainly is the who's who of agriculture. Hey, Pat, come here.
Pat from Kansas keeps causing problems here, but go ahead.
Pat's great. Pat, I sat right to his left. He kept me under control, and Pat has forgotten more than any of us will ever know about agriculture. So we do appreciate you, Pat, and all that you did and are doing right now. So very good. So I can't imagine anything that's more important to talk about. I've had the opportunity to visit 18 or 19 states. We've got 3 or 4 more to go. As you know, agriculture is not partisan. It's about different regions of the country and crops and commodities and all of those things. But really what really helped me in getting out and about was, first of all, farmers are the same any place you go. It doesn't matter if you're in Minnesota, Delaware, Arkansas, you name it. Again, they're just hardworking folks that are trying to make a living. The other thing that you learn is how big agriculture is in our states. Agriculture is usually the number 1 GPA in our states. It is in Arkansas. It's about 25% of the economy. It's about 25% in Michigan. It's usually about that range. It's not 25% in Texas. It's 1 in 7 jobs. So California the same. It's not 25%, but it's more than most countries' output. So very, very important from that standpoint. And then 2, the fact that if you get outside of any town of any size, it's 85 or 90% of the economy. It's all that's left. So I can't imagine anything more important than what we're talking about today, is how do you get those economies working? And so, again, I'll be glad to answer any of his easy questions, but it is something that we got to focus on. The other thing is you look, 53 of 75 counties in Arkansas lost population. 53% of counties in America lost population. I was in Indiana, and you say things like that, and immediately, somebody hits they're punching it in. How many in Indiana? And sure enough, 53% of the counties in Indiana had lost population. You lose those turnback dollars, and you don't have a whole lot to begin with, and you just dig yourself into a deeper hole. So I think the key to agriculture is really re-energizing rural America.
Okay, thank you, Senator.
Should I talk about the Farm Bill?
You go out. Well, I'm going to ask you if you don't.
Yeah. Okay. Believe me, he usually asks me everything there is to be asked about. So.
Okay, well, let's just get right to the point. We polled the folks here this morning on whether there would be a farm bill this year, whether they thought there would be a farm bill this year. The answer was, I believe, 81 to 19% no.
Really?
Are they wrong?
I I hope they are, because I know that farmers need the stability. And that's why I thought it was really important to get an extension, because it looked like we weren't going to get it done. And part of it last Congress was the fact that there was so much going on in the House. I'm not blaming them at all, but you had a lot going on there, and we've had a lot going on in the Senate, the appropriations process, all of those things. But what I wanted was, to get stability so that farmers would have the year operating under the current Farm Bill. We were able to do all of the orphan programs. And the other thing we were able to do really in a very easy way, I was concerned because I wanted to go ahead and get it done, because it's hard to find vehicles to attach this stuff to. There's only so many big bills that move that you can put those on. So we were able to stick it on, but we had no problems doing that at all. If you talk to the average person in Congress, most members of Congress very much want to get a farm bill done on both sides. So we're working hard. We're sharing ideas. So hopefully we can get it done.
Well, if you don't, do you have any reason to believe that the next Congress is going to be a more hospitable environment, even though there is certainly the distinct possibility that we could be calling you Mr. Chairman rather than the ranking?
No, I really mean this. You know, people say, well, you don't want to do a farm bill, you want to do it next year. I believe that it'll be as easy to do it this year as it is next year. So who knows what the dynamics are going to look like then, but I do know how important this is, and I do know how important it is for rural America to give our farmers stability. So we're working in good faith. We still got, you know, these are things that all of a sudden, it's kind of like the tax package that came through. You know, that's been worked on for a long time. All of a sudden, these things will come together. And I'm hoping that that'll be one of those, that, you know, you work hard, doesn't look like you're making a lot of progress, and then, you know, maybe we get it done now, maybe we get it done in the lame duck or whatever, but we want to get it done this year.
Okay. If you have a question for the senator, please use Slido. And in the meantime, I want to ask you about trade. I believe you signed on to a letter last week to the administration raising concerns about the trade deficit. The House Agriculture Committee this week is putting a focus on China. We had some provisions to address China in the spending package that just passed. On the subject of China specifically, Secretary Vilsack has suggested that you know, this could be an irritant, further irritant in trade with our #1 export market. Are you concerned about where we're going on China? And is something additional need to be done to address the concerns with their purchases of, or the purchasing of, or control of U.S. farmland?
Trade is the lifeblood of agriculture. 40% of the products in Arkansas are exported. That would be true as we go around the country. You know, if you don't have a healthy trade component, then you're in problems. And last year we had this is like the first time in 50 years, you know, that we had a trade imbalance in agriculture. That's always been the shining star. We're going to have a bigger trade imbalance this year. And so it's so sad because you travel around the country. I've had the opportunity to be in Singapore on a couple of occasions. They're going to Fort Smith, Arkansas, where I was raised, is going to be the home of the foreign military sales. If you buy an F-35, you're going to get your training in Fort Smith, Arkansas. And so I've had a chance to meet with a number of these countries over that. And then, you know, you talk about all kinds of things. But there's so many people throughout the world that don't want to put all their eggs in the Chinese basket. They want to strike a deal with us, and we just won't do it. The administration doesn't like trade. The unions don't like trade. And they're doing a poor job. And I don't mean that in a political context. It's just the reality. You know, we just are not doing a very good job with trade, and it's really a very opportune time. In regard to China, you know, there's so much at stake there. Certainly I want us to sell all the products that we can. I think it's good that we're, you know, trying to diversify, or should be diversifying, because they're not a dependable ally. And so they're a huge ally, and they've got the ability, and they need to buy our products. But it's not a reliable ally, and there's so much more at stake with national security and things like that. When you look at Chinese purchase of land, and we had a good hearing about this, Chinese don't own much land in comparison to, you know, the rest of the countries. Canada owns a whole bunch. You know, there's several countries that own a bunch, but really not in comparison. You know, it's still a very, very small percentage of land ownership. The thing to worry about with China is they want to own it, outside our military bases and, you know, things like that. Los Alamos land. So. Yeah.
We have a question from the audience. Somebody's raising the concern that Republicans don't want to pass legislation this year that could help Biden. And it's certainly, this is a very volatile political climate. You have conventions coming up in July and August. Nothing's going to get done. I think we can agree after that.
Well, as I said, I don't believe that at all. I think that's a misstatement because, and the reason I say that is that, as I said earlier, most people in the Senate, most people in the House want to get a farm bill passed. When you look at the makeup of Congress, very evenly split, the Republicans, farm country is generally in their favor. It's a pretty red area. On the other hand, so you want to get that done for them. Okay, that doesn't help Biden unnecessarily. It helps Republicans too, being able to say, look what we're doing. We get a good farm bill, not just a farm bill. I think we could pass a farm bill. Pat did a tremendous job in 2018. But what we were doing then is tweaking, the previous farm bill with some major tweaks. Now, the world is so different now in 2018 than it was. The world is so different now from 2018, which was based on 2012 data to a large extent. Now it's just a totally different deal since March of 2021 when inflation started. So we've got to have a reset. In the House, there's a number of districts that are in situations where Democrats are holding those districts. They're red districts, but they do a very good job of representing their folks in those districts. And so, they're hanging on, they're doing well. They want to get it passed. Republicans want to get it passed, I believe, to show farm country that they're for them and they want to do their best to make things as easy as they can for them in a very difficult situation.
Thank you. We'll have to make that the last question, Senator.
Well, that was easy.
Join me in thanking Senator Boozman for sharing his time.
Can I just say one? Can I just say one thing about this is that, again, trade is so important. All of these things, and we can list things. You're not going to have a healthy rural America. You're not going to have a healthy farm economy and this and that if you don't have a healthy rural America. If you don't have schools, if you don't have health care, things that they actually want to live there. If you don't have broadband. We used to think in terms of the 3 R's: roads, railroads, runways, and water. That's how you developed an area. If you don't have broadband, you're not going to develop. And so you've also got to have industry there because most farmers, whether you like it or not, most farmers work in town. So if you don't have a healthy economy for them to do something else, they're not going to be there. They can't make it. You simply can't make it on the cost of farmland. And the return of investment on agriculture now, when you discount land, is 2%. You can do anything and get more investment there. So you've got to have a healthy economy there. That's why it's so important to get a farm bill that again, recognizes that, tries to shore up everything so that we can go forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. And now we will have a message from another one of our sponsors, the Biotechnology Innovation Organization, and then I'll turn the mic over to Sarah and Wyatt for our last two speakers. Thank you.
2023 was a year of challenges for the biotech industry, filled with obstacles and uncertainties. Yet, within the storm, we united with a shared commitment to propel our industry forward. For patients, for the planet, and for innovation. We amplified our collective voice to staunchly oppose harmful public policy on Capitol Hill and in state capitals. And we passionately advocated for measures that expand patient access to medicine and build a more sustainable, healthy planet. We brought the industry together at the Bio International Convention with a record-shattering 57,000 partnering meetings between inventors and investors. We orchestrated conferences for early-stage companies and patient advocates. And we assembled stakeholders in agriculture and environment to serve as catalysts for progress. We forged important partnerships nationally and around the world. we saved our members an astounding $705 million in aggregate savings through BioBusiness Solutions, cost-saving options for facilities and operations, HR, insurance, and everyday business necessities. We developed resources to help our members grow, from comprehensive industry reports to an early-stage resource hub, from a bioclinical trials website to educational webinars. And we championed our message to a worldwide audience through op-eds and national publications, the Good Day Bio newsletter, the I Am Bio podcast, and bio.news. Our work helped the biotech industry stand tall, to empower biotech innovators, to dismantle barriers to innovation, to champion access to breakthroughs, and to be a voice of science and for science.